Bastor über Schöne Linden, Anfang 16.1, Bonnehaus Nord und RB nach Ammerlünde. Information zu RB 27 nach Basdorf über Schöne Linden, Abfahrt 16.1 heute von Gleis 6. Ich wiederhole, RB 27 nach Basdorf über Schöne Linden.
nach Braunschweig Hauptbahnhof über Werte Abfahrt 18:56 Uhr von Gleis 9. Und S2 nach Nienburg über Lunsdorf Abfahrt 18:58 Uhr von
Are you tired of running for your train connection?
If you travel by train often, you know how stressful it can be. You have to rely on guesswork, checking schedule, hoping that your connection will work out, but delays happen and they are unpredictable, especially in Germany. That's where ChuChu comes in. It's an intelligent train travel assistant that uses historical delay data, connection stats, and journey performance insight to help you choose more reliable train routes. And instead of just showing you routes, ChuChu predicts how likely your connection are to succeed, making your trip less stressful and more predictable. You can check the reliability score and see how tight your trains are, and plan your journey with confidence. ChuChu covers trains in Belgium, Netherlands, France, Germany, Austria, Italy, Switzerland, Denmark, Poland, and Hungary, with more countries coming soon. The apps even track your journey live, shows delays on your lock screen, and gives real-time prediction based on historic data. And the best part, it's free. Download ChuChu and never miss a train again.
Dat ik zeg, nou weet je wat, dit is de eerste kans, de mensen waren hartstikke blij. Ja.
At least tried 3 times.
garage was open. They're no happy.
So they unlock the doors now.
I hope so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just arrived at Hannibal. Passengers alighting here are kindly requested to prepare to disembark. Please remember to take all of your personal belongings with you. Thank you and have a good evening.